So, Maureen, thank you so much for joining us. I'm excited. I'll just give a little back. So I met Maureen. She was a teacher at a high school in Maine. And I can't remember exactly. I don't know if it was through my kids or how we came about crossing paths, but you were running a legal studies program and I was a federal agent, worked for the Secret Service. And you were like, do you mind coming to speak at my class? I absolutely enjoy that. And I got to know you over a few years speaking at your class, and you gave me free reign, and I was kind of open and saying, look, I'll do my best and not curse like a sailor, but I will curse. And you were like, yeah, just let it rip. Do what you got to do. I remember having a lot of fun, a lot of feedback from the students that took the class. And I'm excited to talk about that aspect of it. But before we do that, I want to, one, thank you for joining. And two, we're just going to kind of dig a little bit into your background and how all that came to be.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And I understand you're enjoying retired life now?
Well, I'm still on summer mode, so I'll let you know in the fall, but I have to say I'm elated I don't have to crank up as of next week.
That's good. Well, actually, sidebar, Mo is retired from law enforcement, and now she is filling in as a fourth grade substitute at her son's school. And we were just talking about how big fourth graders are and how their attitudes are a little different than what she's used to.
Just a little bit.
God bless.
Yeah, I was like, those are just fourth graders. Imagine high schoolers. Good God almighty.
My. And we're already ramped up here. So whereas Maine doesn't start for a couple more weeks, we're getting ready to finish week 1 already.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah.
Wild.
Crazy.
All right. So, Maureen, this is how we do it. If you don't mind, talk about a little bit where you grew up, how you grew up, and then kind of what got you into the teaching path.
I grew up in Cape Elizabeth, and my father decided to move us midway through my 8th grade, which was awesome.
There you go.
It was quite a culture change.
Yeah.
To say the least. And I've been here ever since.
Really? Okay. So you stayed.
Long-termer can't be that bad, right?
I loved it. I mean, it's all about perspective. I mean, Cape Elizabeth to Biddeford might be a little difficult, but Tampa, Florida to Biddeford, I could promise you I was very happy.
Indeed. Yeah, I can totally understand that.
And Mo used to have a timeshare up in Rockport, Maine. So she has some idea of Maine. So anyway, whenever we start talking about geography, she's always interested.
Very interesting to me how you guys work out things.
Yes,
so
very different.
A little bit more, like, were your parents teachers? Was there any background, or was this something? How did you land? Like, how did your childhood maybe lead you into this path?
Well, my father was a teacher, and he always advocated for me to be a teacher. And I said, "There's no money in that, no." And he always used to tell me, coming full circle, he goes, "Maureen, June, July, and August are the 3 biggest reasons to be a teacher." And I honestly still didn't pay attention into him and went about my merry little business, had to go into business and make money, blah, blah, blah. Long story short, ended up losing my corporate job. I got laid off and ended up as a substitute teacher.
At the high school?
No, actually all over the place, from special ed, wherever. I was just trying to elongate my unemployment. So I worked all over the place, multiple school districts, multiple grades, and I actually ended up really loving it.
Okay.
Yeah.
You said you were in a corporate business. Was it something related to teaching or completely different?
Completely different. Gerbil on the wheel business. I was a marketing manager. Previous to that, I was a production manager. So I knew the whole gamut of the corporate world.
That's funny.
Gave me a lot of perspective coming in. And one of the biggest things, again, what my father said, it's quality of life. I mean, when your kids are on vacation, you're on vacation. School vacations, you're not doing the 9 to 5 grind, you're out at 3 o'clock. I guess I had to go through the grind to appreciate the perspective of that quality of life balance.
Got it. So once you left corporate, did you go into the substitute teaching? I know you said it was kind of to fill the gap of unemployment. But did you have kids that you were trying to work around, or where? How did you move from corporate?
I did. I was a single parent.
Got it.
I was a single parent, and I was still trying to get my degree. So I was actually substituting, going to school, handling a child. It was gnarly.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah.
Definitely. What year was that around when you started substituting or started teaching?
2006. Because I substituted about a year before I got the job at the Center of Technology.
Oh, so you went straight into that. Could you talk a little bit about that? In Florida, they don't really have that. The Center of Technology. It's not a thing in Florida.
Another more common word for it is a vocational school.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So typically they'll do trades, mechanics and auto body and plumbing, blah, blah, blah. But they wanted to bring in the demographic of the kids that shied away from the voc schools because they thought it had nothing to do with college. So then they started business programs, which of course, appropriately marketed, brought in those college prospective kids, which increased enrollment and win-win all the way around.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah.
So what did you start off doing when you started at the high school? The business program, but like what?
Yeah, it was a business program. I took over a legal studies program. My predecessor, God rest her soul, she has since been deceased, but she started a legal studies program. Her background was she was a legal secretary. So it had that kind of slant, more administrative type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, with my business background, I did legal studies. I had a minor in law, was always interested in law. So when I was taking classes, I'd pick up law classes just because I was always interested. I was probably a law enforcement wannabe and a lawyer wannabe. Life took me in a different direction. I couldn't do it being a single parent. So I came full circle into this job, which was a perfect culmination of everything in my world.
Well, I had never heard of it or been exposed to it in my educational career or in professional career. So then when I met you and started talking and getting into it with the students, I was like, this is a great idea, I guess. So you said it started off as more of an administrative slant. What led you to then want to bring it? Because I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. You had agents from as many agencies as you could bring in, prosecutors. Yeah. I don't know if judges or not. Well, I know one of the prosecutors.
I brought judges. Yeah, and the U.S.
local
attorney,
PDs. Yeah.
I had some meat coming in. Thankfully, I had a lot of people that honestly, they realized what it was to be a high school kid, not know what you wanted. And they like to share their stories. I mean, the stories were phenomenal. I learned something every single time a speaker came to the school. And so did the kids. I mean, you can't possibly, a lot of these kids, honestly, they have no idea what they want to do. Their career aspirations are based on a movie or a TV show. So they were just sucking up the information as well they should. Because the next curve is usually signing on the dotted line for a very expensive school. So they were more informed about what they wanted to do moving forward. And I mean, I have to say you, Tyler, and some other people were just very inspirational to kids and, made them have a path, a distinct path as opposed to, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, even my own children who I've known their whole life, they still are like, I don't know. And I'm like, God damn it.
Well, yeah, of course.
It drives me nuts.
But the thing is, senior year, there's such pressure to get in a lane that they'll just do whatever to get in that lane.
Yeah. Right.
And then there can't be anything more criminal in my world than a kid having to change gears and majors sophomore or junior year because it's such a colossal waste of time and money.
You're speaking my language. I think it's unfair.
Well, I mean, it's common sense, and these kids really do appreciate the opportunity. Like I told them, even if they change gear, because there was a good percentage that decided that legal wasn't for them and they'd try something else, especially being at the voc school. Excuse me.
No, I thought the vocational school was also a great idea just in general because you could come out of high school with an actual trade to make money. I mean, anyway, we're getting a little off topic, but with that being said, I never actually asked you this, but what type of students, trying to phrase this correctly, the students that I spoke to in the legal studies class, were these kids that had an interest in law or they were just trying to figure it out? Or I don't know what type of student that I was speaking to. I just was, they were always very engaged. So I had a good time. So I didn't really dig into it too deep.
All of the above. I mean, the class was marketed for kids that were potentially interested in law-related careers in criminal justice, or just wanted to learn what their basic rights were as citizens. So it was a culmination of all of the above. In the earlier years, there were more kids interested in law enforcement. As of, the downturn, then there were less on law enforcement, and the uptick appeared to be, from my perspective, kids interested in being lawyers.
Oh, interesting.
But it was still a good combination.
Yeah, no, for sure. Go ahead, Mo.
So the way that the class was taught was from a very broad perspective. It wasn't narrowing it down to like this is a feeder for the idea of being a vocational school. It wasn't a feeder to go right into the police academy. It was more just a broad overview of everything so that they could have exposure to the legal world.
Correct.
Okay.
In addition to that, they had the ability to earn 15 college credits, transferable college credits. So, I mean, that's half a semester. And in most schools, that's at least 10 grand.
Yeah. How long was the program? Sure.
How old?
How long? How long would it take for them to
Long, a year long, 2.5 hour, every single day course of study.
That's still pretty amazing to come out with 15 credit hours in a year.
Absolutely.
That's great.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, for sure.
Were you partnered with a college with one specific college that was helping to facilitate the college credit portion of it? Or was it something that was just?
I had a lot of college partners, but all the locals.
Got it.
All the local colleges, you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
And of course, I always told the kids that whether or not they transfer in or not is up to the receiving college. Mm-hmm. But I've never heard one kid say that they didn't transfer everything in.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Mo, I was a cop before I ever met a federal agent. It was nothing that I even assumed I could attain until I got I was a deputy. That's the first time I ever met one. So here you are, 16, 17, 18 years old, whatever, a teenager, and you're getting to speak with a multitude of different federal agents. I mean, judges, my God, I've maybe spoken to 3, not in a courtroom setting. So I don't even know. I kick myself now. I was like, hey, Maureen, let me know when some judges come, because I want to sit in there and ask questions too.
Exactly.
Just all, not in a courtroom. Just to see what that's all about. Well, I kind of want to go back and forth a little bit. So you started in 2006 and you just retired. What are some of the bigger changes that you've seen in the student population? Again, small school, so I get it. It's not, inner city or a big city. I'm sorry. Let me phrase that correctly. But what are some of the bigger changes that you've seen in the student base?
Well, thankfully for me, in my limited patience, shall we say, I've always had kids that are very interested. So that means they're motivated coming in, as opposed to an algebra teacher, an English teacher. To be completely honest with you, I couldn't do that, because you're just dragging them. At least the kids that I had were very motivated, very interested to be there. Part of their grade was based on being professional. They just they ate that stuff up. So as far as myself personally, I always had a pretty motivated, I guess I was blessed. And to be honest with you, I wouldn't tolerate anything less. They'd be on the outside looking in. I don't have that sort of patience. And if you're going to tell me I'm teaching professionalism, then I'm going to teach professionalism.
Fair enough.
So
now, did you have the ability to kick kids out? Sorry.
No, it was along the lines.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Did you have the ability to kick students out or remove them, I guess, from the class?
In my world, yes.
I love it. Go ahead, Mo. I'm sorry.
So was your program a highly sought after program? It's a twofold question. If so, was there like an application process to get in so that you were handpicking the students?
It was a highly sought after program when law enforcement was robust. Mm-hmm. As of the last 5 years, the numbers kind of waned back. But it was still, there's a capacity of 16. I had a good average of 10, so not so bad. And there was an application process.
Okay. And even though, like you said, that there was that shift to attorneys? You just didn't have as many that were interested in that as the shift happened?
And not only that, but attorneys, corrections, probations, and we had the ability to take them from several different schools. But our school also had they kept on increasing the program, so there was more offerings. Mm-hmm. But overall, I mean, it was a good, healthy enrollment.
No, it's good. You were always very kind to me, but what were some of the feedback? I mean, not just from when I would speak, but what were some of the conversations that occurred with the students, just to kind of give a synopsis when listening to either federal, local, or did it stir different types of conversation?
Well, you do know that age group is kind of fickle.
Oh, yeah, so for sure.
They expect to be entertained.
Yeah,
100%.
I would give them a backdrop coming in. It's they're not there to entertain you. But naturally, of course, there are people that are engaging and more entertaining. And there are people that are a little bit more on the dry side, but, very, very interesting individuals.
Right. Yeah.
So, of course, them being them, like the more robust, alive, interactive personalities. But they were always appreciative of everybody coming in because regardless, not only for networking, but there were a lot of opportunities for job shadowing and apprenticeships. And I mean, it's just crazy. When you have a U.S. attorney giving out her email address for people to reach out, ask questions, I mean, it's just crazy.
That's huge.
No, for sure.
Huge. It is huge. Like I said, I was just really blessed. And it's not because it was my program. It was just a phenomenal program. And they've since cut it. Don't ask me why. I won't even go down that road because I'm still a little salty about the whole thing. But
yeah,
it is what it is. I mean, all those kids interested in law, criminal justice, or their rights now have no place to go.
Yeah. Well, let me back up when you say that. Was the program you said when you took it over, your predecessor had it kind of a little bit of a different slant? So did you have to build this program out from start to finish and make it more broad as you created it and create all these connections?
I did. In the first probably 5 years, I mean, I worked in excess of 80 hours a week. It was a lot. And then they don't tell you until you're in the profession, you're not an education major, you need to get certified. It's okay, what is that?
Right.
Come after the fact for every person is different. But for me, because I was a business major, I had to take a few college classes. I had to pass 7 national exams. And back then it was at my dime.
Yeah.
So I just got too entrenched to back out. But let me just tell you, I thought about it more than once. What? At my expense? Excuse me? So,
7.
I mean, it was hard coming up. And that's why largely you see a lot of people leave the field within 5 years because it's a lot harder than it looks. It really is.
Yeah.
I'm not one of those. I think it is very hard, and I have nothing but the utmost respect because I deal with the less than desirable students, shall we say, and I'm like, there's no fucking way I could ever do this. Yeah. I would be fired in the first week. But anyway, I'm sorry. Sorry, Mo, I cut you off. Go ahead.
No, I was just, because listening to her talk about the program, I don't know, how you would integrate all these things. How do you set them up with the kids? It just kind of give us an idea of setting it up with the kids and finding all these people who are willing to co-sign your idea to come in and take time out of their day and speak to your classes. That to me just seems like it would have been something that is out of the wheelhouse of a teacher. And I think that's probably because you were a business person that you had that ability, but it just seems interesting to me.
Well, it was my way of connecting with the community because all of these areas, of course, are short on manpower, and they kind of looked at it as, I'm sure, to a degree for recruiting. Mm-hmm. But from my perspective of marketing, kids love that. Yeah. It brought reality beyond a TV show right to their faces.
Yeah.
So it was twofold. Did it take more time? Absolutely, it did, but once I got my game down, then I had a good array of contacts, and it was worth every effort. I mean, I got 1,000-fold in return.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and a lot of I know a handful of the speakers you spoke to, and it's funny now because I mean, one of them ended up being the U.S. attorney for the state of Maine. Now is a judge. Another one was a trooper and is now the chief deputy or maybe I don't know. Deputy. I try not to use names on here, but anyway, because I don't know if they want me to talk about them. But like, it's funny because you see the people who were interested in either recruiting or talking to the next generation of up and coming law enforcement professionals. You see them advancing in their careers as well.
Exactly.
You kind of have to put yourself out there. And I will say, I love talking to high schools. I talked to a few in colleges and stuff. I was always, I try to be real and as raw as I could possibly be.
Which they loved. Yeah.
Oh, you know what? Actually, if you don't mind, because Dave Tarbox, I said, Maureen,
had Dave come in. Yeah.
I've got you always get one side of the story. You want to have a guy who used to be a bank robber come talking to you. You were like, yeah, sure.
I actually thought that day, I mean, I based it on your word alone, which I trusted. In fact,
he's a good dude.
He definitely is. But I actually thought I was getting fired that day because.
Okay. I have a question about how do you pitch that to your principal or whoever your uppers are to say, hey, I want to bring a bank robber in to come in and talk to the kids. How does that go? I'm just curious.
Let me just sum it up by saying it is easier to ask forgiveness than to ask permission. I did fly under the radar a lot of time. Yeah. I'm like, okay, maybe I'll need to explain this because again, that was from my business class that I had Dave come in and they were younger kids. So I had the inclination. They were, Mom, I heard from a convicted felon today with cats, but thank the good Lord. Yeah, I didn't hear anything. So
that's awesome.
I was kind of prepared, but I thought that was going to be a day.
I would never do you like that, Maureen. I would never. Dave is a good dude. He is a businessman. He has employees. His business is growing. He's a family man, but I never actually thought about it till this moment right now.
It was a little comical. The kids loved him. It ate him up 1,000%, but I was getting ready for some sort of explanation.
I didn't even think about it.
I love it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know how people can be.
Yeah, 100%. I love it.
And they were freshmen and sophomores too.
Oh my God.
Younger kids.
Perfect.
Yeah. Well, he actually got on my feet, so.
Well, he actually loved it so much that again, it's just the nature of how it is, but he was trying to create an intern base, like to have with nice. High school. Yeah, he tried multiple high schools. The administration never took him up on it, I think, because of his background. But I'm like, he's like, I own a business and, being a barber, he's making 30, 40, 50 bucks. I mean, you can make money and it's a skill. You could do it anywhere. And I was like, dude, that's a great skill. Once again, I never thought about it like that. Well, and he's like, I'm trying, but it is what it is, I guess.
Schools, at least public schools, are probably going to be, they're going to be skittish.
Yeah, for sure. Great idea for the business class. Sorry, go ahead, Mom.
Yeah. One thing I heard you say, and if you don't want to go down the path, you can tell me that now they've gotten rid of the program altogether, or has it just been scaled back now?
Altogether.
Yeah.
Was there a why that was done?
I did not ask. I chose not to ask. They tried to do it 5 years ago, and
I remember.
Well, what happened 5 years ago? Why?
They just thought it would be a good idea, that it wasn't something they wanted to offer anymore. I personally think it was a little bit more complicated than that, and thankfully the likes of Tyler and a bunch of other professionals, I reached out to them, and in that mode, I had 3 of my grandkids living with me, so I was coming out fighting like hell to keep it for not only my own income, but for the kids.
Yeah.
I mean, it's such a great class. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
And thankfully, I got a lot of professionals to back me. My colleges back me.
Yeah.
A ton of my former students back me. So at that point, I guess it was just easier to give me 5 more years. However, when this came up, when I retired, it's not my fight anymore. It's going to take a while until I get rejuvenated into warrior mode again. I mean, because I might become a state rep or go and talk to the individuals at the Department of Education. But right now, I'm tapping down for at least 6 more months, I think, of vacation mode. And then I might get my feisty back.
Good for you.
It's still there. I know it's still there.
Oh, it's definitely still there. But picking and choosing one's battles. Like I said, I wouldn't even commit to this until I had some irons reeled safely out of the fire. It is what it is.
We're not going anywhere dark. I promise.
No.
I love it.
Go ahead, Mo.
So you were able to finish the program out through your career.
I was.
Awesome.
Yes.
Awesome.
A lot of my former students were and professionals, because I said goodbye to each and every one, were scratching their head and very, very, very sad that was the case for upcoming.
Yeah.
All the kids interested that are going to miss out.
Yeah.
Mo, I will say, I'll touch on it. I know the individual she's referring to in the Department of Education, because I also had my own battles individually, one-on-one, personally, face-to-face, emails, phone calls, because I was losing my shit over some of the stuff that was going on as a parent, but also as a law enforcement professional. So I've had words with probably several of the people she's referring to. So I know what she's talking about.
Yeah.
Kind of reining it in a little bit. The overall, one of the main purposes I wanted to have you on, Maureen, is to talk about the program, why it's important. This show does have a wide audience. I think it's so beneficial. And I know it's beneficial from a law enforcement side, but just hearing you talk about the kids' enthusiasm and their interest and just the concept of it being like, it ties in with the mission of kind of the podcast and the upcoming book that I have coming out. But it's humanizing the profession and the badge. And you know, when you start talking about it, most people do not interact with law enforcement in a positive way. Usually if they're interacting with it, they're getting pulled over or something horrific has happened or something like along those lines.
Yeah.
So the more opportunities you can have to speak with people in a comfortable setting, that's only going to help better relationships down the line. And so I wasn't surprised when you said that they had ended it, because I remember 5 years ago when they tried to do it, and you know, everybody, I was in there rallying. I was calling as many people as I could. Like everybody was sending letters and
you were instrumental. I'll always be grateful.
No, it's such an important thing. I just wanted to get that message out there. But Mo, also, I know we've talked about it on offline before this, but what are your thoughts? Because you are actually kind of in a unique experience, because you're law enforcement, now you're teaching. Again, you're younger age base, but imagine that concept in a high school before they launch off into college or whatever they're doing.
I think it's a great idea, even taking it, whether it be a vocational style class, but I think it would be something that even in a traditional high school, like we have here in Florida that are more likely, you could definitely build it out to be a program that could still coincide with the colleges, with getting them college credits and things of that nature. And it could help that person, like she said, that's undecided on what I want to do. My thing is this: I think in high school, our goal should be exposure. Expose the kids to as much as we can, so that then before they have to make those big decisions, like she said, and choose a path, then they have some level of information to be able to utilize to decide, do I want to go to college? Maybe going to becoming a plumber is my thing, or maybe being a cop or an attorney or becoming a scientist, whatever it may be. I just feel like we should be offering the exposure. So to me, it makes sense to have a variety of programs available. Love that when she said that we could pull from other schools. That to me is even better. And to me, it's a win-win.
That's huge.
Because if you have one school that houses it and then you pull from other schools, now you're servicing the entire community, not just a small segment. So I would think it's a no-brainer as to why we would keep it, even if it was, I don't know how it would ever be small scale if you open it up like that either.
It's a regional center of technology, so all the abutting communities come to our school. Yeah. So to lop off law-related and criminal justice interests just clearly does not make sense to me, nor will it ever.
Yeah.
No. Especially it's such an important aspect of.
Of course. Are they not paying attention that law enforcement needs help recruiting? I personally never want to live in a society where no one wants to do the damn job.
Yeah.
I can tell you that.
No, for sure.
None of us do.
For sure.
Well,
for sure.
I mean, you have to do your part.
Yeah.
Too.
No, 100%. All right, we're going to kind of go off a little bit because now you've got my brain going, so I have a couple avenues I want to discuss with you. So we actually had one previous educator. She's a principal, Michelle Kifford, down, and she was the principal. She is the principal at Stoneman Douglas, the Parkland shooting that occurred.
No, good.
And she wasn't the principal at the time of the shooting. She took over the next year, but she talked a lot about kind of the changes that she had to implement, working with the students, the parents, and things like that. With that being said, what are some of the changes you've seen, or if at all, just in the way security is approached at the high schools?
Not much. It's very, 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 I've talked to you about this before. It's very unsettling to me. I think personally our kids deserve nothing less than the security at a courthouse or an airport. It's frightening. I've seen very few changes to the extent of really being proactive. Okay. I said this to you before, Tyler. I probably shouldn't have said it to a federal cop, but did.
Yes, you did.
That if I was a criminal and I wanted to do some damage, trust me, it wouldn't be too hard.
Yeah.
In fact, Tyler knows we had a real scare.
Yep.
It ended up being not a student, but picking up a student, some family member. I was out. I heard about it through everybody that was in. And the kid, I guess, proclaiming to be delusional that he shouldn't have a gun in a school zone, had a gun in a school zone. Mm-hmm. And it just so happened, right? Kids saw it, reported it. SRO happened to be in a scenario where he could beeline down, so it was snuffed down.
Right.
Yeah.
But not so much if somebody was really looking to do damage.
Right.
Yeah.
For example, kids from the high school come into the Voc school at certain times. Yeah. Everybody knows it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So if somebody's sitting in the car, all they have to do is lift. Sorry to be so graphic, but this is one of my total pet peeves.
Yeah.
Everybody talks about it. Everybody's all on it, when yet another school shooting occurs, but then we all forget about it and nothing real is ever done.
Yeah.
Well, what are some of the challenges that, again, you weren't in the administration, so I understand that point, but what were some of the challenges, if any, that were articulated to you on why, or to the teachers on why changes weren't happening?
Budget.
Did they ever get that? Just budget money?
Budgets. But, I mean, it's pretty apparent that expenditures get done as to priorities.
Yeah.
And I personally think this should be, right at the top of the list.
Should be.
Well, it's the way I look at it.
No, for sure.
It's just like the hierarchy of needs.
I had a really hard time telling my kids every year what the emergency protocol was.
Yeah.
And that was basically never changed. If we went on lockdown, then we lock the door. In reality, very easy to shoot open. And I take all of those kids and go in a corner.
Mm-hmm.
And then I always told them, it's like, I always have sharp pencils that I can throw at them. So don't worry, we'll be good. But I was just that facetious because it's just, kids are not stupid.
No,
and I felt like an idiot having 16 kids on my watch that, we were sitting ducks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we've asked this we talked about it on the show, but again, you were educator. What is because it's been talked about now, you hear about it, some Congress people, it's kind of ramping up again, having teachers or administration have the ability to be armed if they so desire, as opposed to having cops. I mean, there'd have to be some training, blah, 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 involved, but what are your thoughts on that?
Personally, I'm a person that owns a gun. I would feel more confident with myself with additional training being ready to go.
There we go.
Other teachers, maybe not so much.
Fair.
So it would have to be a really good scrutiny of who would be and who wouldn't be. But again, if we're waiting 2 minutes for the SRO to get to us, a lot of damage can occur in 2 minutes.
No, for sure. And just to give some background context, it was kind of a little debate that was going on, and there was people advocating, and there was people saying why they shouldn't. And then there was one individual, and again, I can't remember his name, but he was like, you're asking somebody to do something outside of their nature. Like, people don't go into teaching and educating and have the same nature as like maybe a cop does. So you're asking someone to step outside their nature to like pull a gun and potentially take a life. And so it was just an interesting concept to me, because for me and Mo's like, yeah, I'll stay strapped. I'm ready to go. But it's like, we have that law enforcement background, but it was such a unique perspective because I don't have it. I don't understand what he's saying, to go outside your nature to protect yourself and the kids that are under your care. But here you are saying, yeah, I've got a gun, a little more training, I'll be ready to rock and roll. So it sounds like there is that protective instinct in there.
Oh, of course. It's the mama bear type of instinct.
You definitely have that.
Without a doubt. I mean, I wouldn't want to ever be in a position to take anybody's life, but if somebody's threatening my family, my kids, and I'd include my students in that, then it is what it is.
Yeah.
However, I mean, there's definitely certain people that would never even consider that realm, and that's why the application process or scrutiny process would have to be pretty intensive.
No, for sure. And I think the nature of it was like volunteer basis, and there would be training. Like you would just be like, all right, hey, you got a gun, bring it. It's not, it hasn't been pitched that way, but it's still a lot of back and forth and a lot of kickback. But go ahead, Mo, you had something.
I'm just saying, I'm from the school of thought that I think there are some teachers that that don't have even the police background, like Maureen, that would want to step into that role if it were an option. Not everyone. And I don't even think collectively at a school that you would have the majority, but I think you would have a handful that would be open to, with additional training, doing that, stepping into that role. Because like she just said, the idea is law enforcement officers are not going to be sitting on campus when that thing happens.
No.
They are.
No.
And the alternative is potentially getting slaughtered. Sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
So I'm going to go on record with saying Maureen was on my side. You can be.
And I think there are other teachers that are very much in support of that idea as well, because the sitting duck syndrome doesn't work for a lot of us.
No.
Just doesn't. To protect your kids.
Yeah. Yeah, because you're with these kids for 4 years, many hours a day, 5 days a week.
Exactly.
Like, you know them, good or bad, I guess. And for me, like in my head, I'm already like every football coach I've ever had. So you got all these coaches, football, baseball, coaching. They just tend to have that mentality. But then, Maureen, she does have mama bear energy for sure.
Let's go.
Every time I was there. So that's what I mean. I'm like, I think this is a viable, again, it's you're never going to solve 100% with solution, 100% solution. This is how we fix it. But like, these are viable options. Anyway,
we do need to do something. I mean, in my kind of cynical perspective, I guess, but the data supports it. It's not if it's going to happen. Sadly, it's probably when. I mean, hopefully not in Biddeford, but in any school.
Yeah, for sure.
It's just time to up the game.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I want to because you talked about being a state representative, but what would be some, I'm not trying to have you have your political pitch or anything like that, but what are some of the changes you would like to see or you would work to implement? And I'm assuming it's in the educational field, or do you have other thoughts, I guess?
No, absolutely. It would be primarily in the education field and more reality based. There's so many decision makers that influence the trenches that have no clue what they're talking about, that never come close to a classroom. That's really got to stop.
Yeah. No, for sure.
Yeah.
So when you say that and help ignorant decision makers, are these elected officials that are making decisions, or are these people within the Department of Education at the state level, federal level? What are you referring to?
Well, the federal level is probably nil and non-existent, but
fair enough
at a state level, and then Department of Education, and then trickle down into state reps that go on committee for certain statutes being placed or trying to be passed in reference to education. Most of these people have no teaching experience, so nor do they really extend the arm. I've never been asked. I've never been asked my input in 18 years. That doesn't mean, others have. Or maybe they steered clear of me. I'm not really sure, because I would definitely tell them, real talk.
Yeah, no. Well, that might be why they didn't ask you.
That's probably why. That's probably why.
Fair enough. Yeah. Oh, I was unaware of that. And again, this is my ignorance. So state representatives make the decisions on how I thought it was mostly the school board, or help me. I'm very ignorant on how this all works.
No. Well, a lot of times it will be like the whole legal studies thing.
Yeah.
5 years ago, after I went to war, the only way to keep it, because of what the state had designated as appropriate titles or classifications I had to go under. A business law title. Business law is okay. I made it work.
Yeah.
I just kept on sliding in legal studies. It has a different connotation. It has a different marketing thing. It has more of less criminal justice, more business law. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, stuff like that. Why would not legal studies, seeing as it was working for 25, 35 years? In my world, if it's not broke, you don't mess with it.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't even ask why, because
just so I can understand, like, why the numbers of this, as on average, over the time that you taught the class. I know you don't have exact numbers, but do you have an idea of roughly how many students went through this program that they would not see value in it?
A lot. I mean, for many years.
Yeah.
Capacity of 16, it was always full. The numbers tapered off as of the last 5 years because of the law enforcement, I guess. Not as many people seem to be interested, but there's still good, healthy, strong interest. And somebody thought it would be a good idea to start planting seeds early for middle school, which is great. Start kids thinking about careers, blah, blah, blah. Well, the original data was that there was a strong showing, at least in Biddeford, for law and criminal justice.
Right.
So it's just a disconnection of the dots. I don't know. I couldn't even begin to think the way they think. The decision maker, I don't know.
Right.
I said I basically stayed clear of the whole why, because I really didn't want to raise my pressure on the way out.
Was it an expensive program to run?
Not at all.
So everyone was there voluntarily?
I'm sorry?
Most of the people that were coming to speak were voluntary, so you didn't have to pay them
absolutely.
or anything?
Yeah, and I was on zero budget. I had everything I needed, real low budget.
Okay.
I'm you just touched on something. Because you were teaching your students about their constitutional rights, their, how to interact with law enforcement, having law enforcement come and speak to them, and not just law enforcement, but like you said, attorneys. My thing is, this is something that is drastically lacking, and everywhere I go, people don't understand what their rights are, or they think they know their rights, and it's like, no, you're being a fucking asshole. Now you're going to go to jail because you're being you're ignorant of the law. And here you are trying to teach this, and they're like, no, we need to focus more on business related items.
Yeah.
Was there any conversation about how students would learn their constitutional law and their rights and stuff? Like, was there any other class or another class that would have to take that over, or they were just saying scrap it?
Not that I'm aware of, and it was basically scrap it for whatever reason. I'm sure it was not because I'm irreplaceable. I'm sure that was not the reason. So I don't know.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Huh. Sorry, you got my brain working on that one, because that's disconcerting.
Well, just think of all the potential kids that are going to be interested in those fields that don't have a class to take. It would have made far more sense for me to pass the torch, all my contacts, here's all my stuff, as opposed to if they decide to, and I'm sure at some point in time it will probably be resurrected, maybe just criminal justice. I'm not really sure. They won't fill the class for sure.
Right.
It's no diss to law enforcement. It's just, I know the numbers.
Yeah.
With that said, I'll come back as a paid consultant at that point.
There you go. Damn right.
Maybe.
Damn right.
There you go.
No, for sure. Go ahead, Bo. Sorry.
No, I was just saying, there you go. Come back as a paid consultant and then help them get the program up and running again.
No, for sure.
Yeah, maybe.
No, for sure. Huh. You got me stumped on that one. So with that being said, moving into your next potential career field, you're thinking political move, or is there something else you're thinking?
I'm going to take 6 months and
figure it out.
Reassess the next chapter.
Oh, well, for my opinion, you would have made an amazing law enforcement professional. I promise you that.
Thank you. That's one of my, I guess I'll never know, maybe in the next life, but
do some consulting. I will say this, Mo is working, just food for thought, because you're an educator, on developing a program in Florida. I think it would be amazing in Maine, on working with law enforcement in schools for school security. Oh, well, I'm sorry, Mo, I'm stepping on you.
No,
do you
you're
mind
fine.
talking about, I would like Maureen's perspective on it, because she's,
We are working to come up with a program that we can teach to administrators, we can teach to crisis interventionists in the schools, we can teach to law enforcement professionals that are the decision makers, and to the ones that are kind of boots on the ground law enforcement wise, how we could better work together in the event of, like we were saying, the tragedy of a school shooting. That is a huge endeavor. There's the pre, the during, and the post, and trying to figure out how we can know what the needs of each cog in that wheel is. Because working with the principal, like he was saying, Michelle Kefford, she was explaining that there was some breakdown when it came to understanding what are the needs of these families that are now victims. What do we need to do from the administrator point? What do we need to do from the law enforcement point? And the fact that law enforcement just kind of breaks off. After the event happens, we just pack up all of our toys and then leave once we have done what we need to do, or we come in and trample over everything. And because we're conducting an investigation, and many times we're not seeing what administration is trying to accomplish with the students, how are they needing to handle the families, et cetera.
This is after the fact?
It's a program that we want to put out to schools and administrators before they've had something to occur, because they are learning from the mistakes and things that happened in Broward County with the Marjory Stoneman Douglas shooting. So we're trying to build from that, so that in the event that, a school in the middle of wherever has an issue, we can kind of give them a framework of knowing and understanding how all these players need to work together. So the idea is to put together a program where we teach them, and then we have them roundtable and a situation and how we can make it work more seamlessly together.
I think that's a great idea. Educators tend to be in the lane of education.
Uh-huh.
Also an awareness for law enforcement to come in and make suggestions.
Yeah.
You got a weakness here, you got a problem here. Suggestions so they can at least start to think out of their educator box.
Right.
Well, that was something that Michelle brought up. Again, she became principal after the fact, so she wasn't there when the event occurred. But, she's got all the students that, didn't graduate that are coming back to the school. She's dealing with they want to make sure they're safe, the parents, the teachers, the other administrators, and she's having to also deal with the political scrutiny, news agencies. She's making she's having to demonstrate security changes she's making. But on top of all that, she's like, we also are a school, so we still have tests that got to be done, school functions, and all these things. So it was like a monster chunk of learning. She didn't learn. She was a biology teacher before she became an administrator. And then she was like, none of this was ever in any of my training and anything I ever had to do. So she was like kind of learning as she went. And then I didn't even
manage also, Tyler, the after effects to the families that may have siblings now that were victims that are coming to the school, and how are we managing the families that were victimized directly?
Yeah. So this is the world we now live in.
Yeah. Well, is there anything like that in Maine?
I mean, if it doesn't come to the surface, we're not paying attention to business. Kids deserve to be safe. Your kids deserve to be safe.
Yeah.
For sure.
Do you think the schools should be anything less than a courtroom, courthouse, airport?
Prisons where we house criminals.
Good point.
That's where Well, let me ask you this, because I know in the Secret Service, I've spoken to and worked with people that were part of the safety schools program, our school safety program, but I never saw anyone from the school, any of the schools, administration or otherwise, that were part of that. Did you ever hear about this program? Do you even know what I'm talking about?
No.
There's the disconnect.
Not at all.
Huge.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. All right.
It's crazy.
All right. Yeah. Well,
it really is. Here we are. We're starting another school year, and
yeah.
Prayers, a lot of prayers.
Lots.
Yeah. My baby's got one more year, and then she's off to whatever she's going to be doing. So I these are things that I have to worry about. Well, Maureen, I had you on for an hour. What do you think about that?
Wow. That's
I
crazy.
know. See, you thought we were going to go very long.
You dragged it out of me.
I did. All right. Let me end with one more question from me, and then Mo, if you got one, and then we can wrap it up. Well, sorry, it's a 2-part question. I do like to do that. Highest moment, lowest moment as an educator. It doesn't have to be anything super detailed, but just conceptual.
Highest moments. We don't get any monetary type of bonuses in education. So each and every time that a student will contact me, because when they exit, it's almost mandatory. We have to stay connected via social media or whatever. So I always know generally what they're doing, and they get that dream job, or they just send me an email. Hey, now I understand why you pulverized me with blah, blah, and blah. And I thought it was so stupid in high school. Yeah. Thank you so much. I mean, I have a lot, and that's just, it makes it gratifying to know that, yay, made a difference.
Yeah.
And the lowest moment was the program being closed, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Fair enough. Well, sorry, I got one more question. Sorry. What skill sets do you think are lacking in this generation of high school students? And let me preface it. Kids are graduating now, and it's like they don't know how, honestly, it feels like they don't know how to do anything, but it's like checkbook, banking.
Oh yeah, of course.
Fixing their car. Like there's just so many life skills that are lacking, but is there anything that you're seeing that you're like, they really should be learning this and before they launch off into quote unquote adulthood?
Absolutely. Life skills, like you said. Part of my classes, I might have stepped a tad to the left here and there, but I always incorporated professional emails. Let's look at colleges. Let me show you some. Oh, you want to go to that expensive school? Let me run that number for you, because I can tell you what your tuition is going to be. Budgets, rentals, housing, marriage, divorce. I mean, within a legal umbrella, I could get away with some of that stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, that stuff, how to do a resume, cover letter, how to act professional. I mean, you can't blame kids when they've been enabled for almost 10, 11, 12 years, and they can't think on their own because they've been inevitably trained to just, no question is a stupid question. Just raise your hand. That's what the teachers are there for. And I'm like, excuse me, they lied to you. They're stupid questions. If I told you stuff in triplicate and I told you to take notes, and this is where you should have a clue.
Right.
Yeah.
So some of that stuff was just like, but it's not all their fault. It really is not.
Right.
Like this whole thing with cell phones. I get it. I totally get it. I went to the mat several times. It's like, hey, real world says they're going to not have anybody frisk them and lock up their cell phones. So let's show them how to use them professionally.
Yeah.
I was the little minority voice. We now lock up cell phones, and like I'm not frisking a kid because they smarten up pretty quick.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you have kids, oh, I left it. My parents took it. It's like, okay, we're good.
Yeah. Yeah, whatever.
I'm not the cell phone police. I have other things to do, but if we're going to put this as a check in the box as a major revelation to education, then cool. I'll play.
So you brought it up. So I haven't thought about it that way. You would teach them how to use cell phones professionally or appropriately.
Yeah.
What a unique concept.
It was very unique, apparently. Because I was not the popular decision there.
Maureen, you're out here dropping wisdom. Sorry, Mo, go ahead. I'm sorry. I tied it up. I asked like 8 questions.
No, you're fine. I just was going to say, I would like to say thank you, first of all, for coming on the show and talking to us.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, yeah. I think it's incredible, the program, the way you had built it out and created, in my opinion, a very robust program that would transfer just about anywhere I can see.
Yeah.
It's very unfortunate that I kept digging at that question, and I didn't mean to keep opening up a wound for you, but I was trying to wrap my head around what was the why. Was it too expensive? Was it this? Was it that? And we didn't land on anything. So I would say, good job on creating a program, and shame on them for getting rid of it.
I'm also trying to be politically correct, of course.
Thank you. I can also tell you they didn't ask any parents what they thought. So that wasn't a decision they put to the parents. Anyway, I digress. Maureen, thank you. I want to be respectful of your time. And I thought it was great. I really appreciate it. And hopefully the next time we have you on, you'll be, state representative or whatever function. I'd love it.
You never
I want
know.
you to do it so bad. I think you would be awesome.
School board maybe, but it'd be too late for your daughter.
Yeah, but still, I'd still love to hear about that because I'm sure those conversations get wild too.
Contemplating. I would hate to get assassinated in the first 3 months.
As a school board member, I hope not.
Or whatever, because
no,
people don't always like reality, as you well know.
No, very true. Maureen, thank you.
Thank you.